Good morning, children. Today we are going to see another topic, which is digestive system. This digestive system is a very important topic for your examinations. In the examination point of view, you will get many questions related to the digestive system. So here MCQs are very important. Okay, and 1 mark questions, the 2 mark questions, are the long answers. Each and every point of view, this particular topic, which is called as digestion, is very important. So be very careful when I explain this. It might be a bit lengthy, it might take some extra time also, but I hope, I want everybody to listen to it carefully and remember each and every term. So many new terms will be there in this topic. I want you to remember each and every term so that it will be helpful to you when you write the examinations. So now, before going to the digestive system, I want to know what is digestion. What is digestion? Digestion is a process in which the food molecules, the complex food molecules, what are the food you eat, they are complex molecules. They are not broken down into simple molecules before digestion. So they are complex in nature. All these complex in nature food molecules, they enter into your stomach, small intestine and all, and then they'll get digested, and then the digested food will be sent to your cells so that you can get the energy. So in a simplified way, what you can say is the conversion of the complex molecules into simple molecules, the breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules is called as digestion. So what are the nutrients which are required for that? That is all what we are going to see now. So before that, I would also like to make sure that you know all the nutrients. What are the 5 major nutrients? What are 3 major nutrients and 2 minor nutrients? First one is carbohydrates, second one is proteins, third one is fats, fourth one is vitamins, and fifth one is minerals. Okay? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. So these are the 5 different nutrients which are there in our diet. These 3 are the major nutrients. These 2 are the minor nutrients. These we take in larger quantities. These we take in a minute quantities. Okay. So now coming to the carbohydrates, proteins and fats, all these 3 are in the diet. Now these are the complex molecules. Okay, and when you eat them, when they get digested, they will be converted to glucose, amino acids and fatty acids. These 3 are the simple molecules. So the conversion of the complex molecules into simple molecules is called as digestion. The conversion of complex molecules such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats into simple molecules such as glucose, amino acids or fatty acids is called as digestion. Is it clear, children, everybody? Okay. So now coming to the different parts of the digestive system. So mouth is the first part, and in the mouth you can see the buccal cavity, and after that you can see the teeth in that, and you can see the tongue in that. And then we have pharynx, then we have the esophagus, then we have stomach, next is small intestine. Small intestine also will have a finger-like projection called as villi, and then there is large intestine, and then there is rectum. So I want you to remember these parts because these are the major parts in the digestive system, and each and every part will have some other subparts also which will be going through during the lesson. So you need to remember all these things: mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, the rectum. So these are the major parts which in the digestive system. Okay. Now coming to the digestive system. Here, see, when you open your mouth, what you can see inside? You can see the oral. This cavity, this complete cavity, the empty cavity is called as the oral cavity or buccal cavity. And this oral cavity and buccal cavity will have the teeth, so that what you can do, you can chew the food, okay, you can tear the food, isn't it? So you can chew the food, you can tear the food, you can grind the food with the different kinds of teeth you have in your mouth. Okay, so there are incisors, canines, molars, and premolars. All these 4 different types of teeth are present in your mouth, which will help you to chew the food, tear the food, and grind the food. So that food material, okay, you will swallow it. You will swallow it. So when you swallow, now what you're doing here is you're chewing the food, isn't it? So the chewing of the food is called as mastication. It's called as mastication. Taking in the nutrients is called as nutrition, isn't it? Putting the food in your mouth is called as ingestion. And chewing the food is called as mastication. So you will masticate the food and they will become into a bit smaller particles, and then you will swallow the food, and the food which is swallowed will come into a part which is called as the pharynx. Into a second part which is called as pharynx. So this pharynx is the second part. Is it clear, children? So for the first one, buccal cavity, which will have the teeth and tongue, and what you will do when you take the food, you will chew the food, you will tear the food, you will grind the food, you will masticate it, you will grind it, and then you will swallow it. So when you swallow, which part of the mouth will help in swallowing the food? Just try to swallow the food without using your tongue. I want you to do this right now. Is it okay? Can you do that? No. So only with the help of your tongue will push the food into the pharynx. So whatever the food you have taken, that comes into what? Into pharynx. So pharynx is a place where the food enters next from the buccal cavity. Is it clear, children? And then, now I would like to talk about this mouth once again. Here in the mouth, there are 3 pairs of glands which are known as salivary glands. They are called as salivary glands. So salivary glands are very, very, very important because salivary glands will secrete liquid like jelly like substance which is called as saliva. It will secrete what? It will secrete saliva, and this saliva will contain the enzymes which is called as ptyalin, or else you can call it as amylase. You can call it as amylase. So these salivary glands are in 3 pairs. You can see the picture of salivary glands on the screen. Yeah, these are the 3 salivary glands which you can see on the screen. Are you able to see them? Great. So 2 pairs are located at the side of the jaw. Can you see them? There are 2 pairs of salivary glands located at the side of the jaw, and one is located below the tongue. Okay, so 2 pairs are located at the side of the jaw and below the tongue, and the last pair is located at behind the palate. So you know what is palate? Yeah. So palate, behind the palate there is 1 pair, and 1 pair is located at the side of the jaw and also 1 below the tongue. So totally there are 3 pairs of salivary glands which are present in the mouth, and all these 3 pairs of salivary glands, they secrete an enzyme which is called as the amylase. Now what is an enzyme? There are so many digestive enzymes in the in the digestive system, and all these enzymes will help the food to be digested. Food cannot be digested on its own. See, when you swallow the food, your teeth is chewing the food. The teeth are helping in grinding the food, tearing the food, but it is not a complete digestion in the mouth. It is partially digested, isn't it? So this partially digested food should be completely digested to glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. So it's not an easy job to be done. So that is the reason why there is a requirement of several enzymes. All these enzymes will help in digesting the carbohydrates, proteins, fats into glucose, amino acids and fatty acids. So now first of all, when you see the carbohydrates, the digestion of carbohydrates begins in the mouth. So the amylase which is here, it will start digesting the carbohydrates. That is what happens when you chew the food. That is the reason why people say that you have to chew the food. If you are directly swallowing the food, amylase might not help in chewing in the digestion process. So you should not swallow the food directly. You should chew it definitely, so that the saliva will get mixed with the food and then it will be digested. And when you swallow the food, that will enter into your stomach along with amylase. Okay children, from pharynx, now this is the buccal cavity and now this is the pharynx. Okay, and from pharynx the food will enter into the esophagus. Now we'll only take the food which you have taken the gulp of the foods. Okay, now this is the food particle. So when it enters into the esophagus, it forms like this. Okay, and then the muscles which are here in the esophagus, they will push the food, they will become straight, so that this particular food will come down, and now you can see the food here. Again the muscles of esophagus, once again they will push the food, again they will come down. So like this, they'll keep on pushing the food into the stomach. So because of that thing, okay, because of that action, what you can see is wave-like motions in the esophagus. These wave-like form in the esophagus are called as the peristaltic movements. What they are called as peristaltic movements. So the food from the esophagus is pushed into the stomach with the help of what? Peristaltic movement. The muscles here, they'll keep on contracting and relaxing, so that the food will be sent into the stomach. So first of all, the food was in the buccal cavity, then it came to the pharynx, and then into the esophagus. With the help of the peristaltic movements, the food now came into the stomach. So now the food which is in the stomach is partially digested. It is not completely digested, isn't it? So whatever the food you have chewn here, that which is mixed with the saliva, that is the only food which entered into the stomach. So once it enters into the stomach, what is the thing which is happening here? So that is what we are going to discuss now. So the food which is in the stomach, okay, already we have learned about the enzymes. Okay, so these enzymes are given out by the salivary glands. That is one of the gland which you have seen, which gives the saliva, which will act on what? Act on carbohydrates. Now coming to the stomach. The stomach, now if you see it as a stomach, now this stomach will have a layer. This is the gland, this is the layer, and this particular layer of stomach will have gastric glands. What are the glands which are present here? They are called as gastric glands, and these gastric glands will secrete the juice which is called as the gastric juice. What is the juice secreted? Gastric juice. So now, what are the gastric juice is secreted by salivary, by the gastric glands? By the gastric glands will contain, okay, the gastric glands will contain an enzyme which is called as pepsin. Which will act on the proteins. Already we have seen that amylase is acting on carbohydrates, which is secreted by the salivary glands, and now the gastric glands are secreting a juice which is called as gastric juice, and this gastric juice is containing what? It contains pepsin, which is acting on what? Proteins. So it is helping in the digestion of the proteins. Not only that, it also contains the HCl. HCl, and this HCl is also playing a major role in the digestion here. This HCl will kill the bacteria which are present in our diet, and also they will break down the food particles into some fine particles, into simpler substances. So that is what HCl is doing here. Okay, so HCl has a very major role to play here, but maybe in the next classes you'll learn more about the HCl. And also HCl, you can see here, they are killing the bacteria, and also they are helping in the digestion by breaking down the food particles. So that is about the gastric glands. Gastric glands are present at the lining of the stomach. Okay, they give out gastric juice, they secrete gastric juice, and this gastric juice will contain a enzyme which is called as pepsin. Pepsin will act on the proteins. Okay, and also it gives out the HCl. And now you may get a doubt that HCl is a acid. HCl is a acid, and how does this acid doesn't burn the stomach? And the answer is here, the stomach is lined with a mucous membrane. It is lined with a mucous membrane which will not allow the HCl to burn it. So it's like a protection layer. It's like a protecting layer which will protect the stomach from burning because of the hydrochloric acid. So this is what happens in the stomach. Okay, so here in the stomach also the food is partially digested. Food is partially digested. So after the digestion of food partially here, the food will be sent into the next part which is called as duodenum. So you can see the U-shaped structure here. Okay, this is a U-shaped structure here, which we call it as the duodenum. So this duodenum also plays a major role in the digestion process. We'll see how it plays a major role. Okay, so here, exactly here, there is a part which is present which is called as the pyloric sphincter. What is called as pyloric sphincter, and this pyloric sphincter will allow only little food to come into the duodenum, because see, you have eaten very good amount of food and that is partially digested, and now the complete food will not be able to come into the duodenum because they are very small tube-like structures. It is not that big as stomach, isn't it? So now only little food should go into the duodenum so that it can be digested properly. So there is a pyloric sphincter. It is acting as a valve. You might have heard the word called as valve in your physics also, right? So valve, if you take a cycle, so there is a valve in that, and when you pump the air will go inside, but the air will not be able to come outside because the valve will be closed. So here the valve will open a little and send the little food out into the duodenum, and then again it will close. So that is how the pyloric sphincter will help so that the food will enter into the duodenum. So the next process of digestion will happen in the duodenum. So it is now partially digested food, right? So now we call this partially digested food as chyme. What we call it as chyme. Okay children, so what we have learned till now. So these are the gastric glands which gives out the gastric juice. It will have the HCl and also pepsin. So pepsin will convert the proteins into peptones. Okay, so this is a part of that, and HCl already we have seen its function. The next one is the pancreas. Pancreas is another gland which is a mixed gland. Okay, which is a mixed gland, that means it is both exocrine gland and also endocrine gland. So I'll explain you what is exocrine gland, endocrine gland in the next topic. So pancreas here, it will secrete a juice called as pancreatic juice. So this pancreatic juice will contain 3 enzymes here. One is amylase, second one is trypsin, and third one is lipase. So these are the boxed parts are the enzymes which are secreted by the pancreatic juice. So pancreatic juice is secreted, it is secreted by the pancreas. And what are the three enzymes present in that? Amylase, trypsin and lipase. Now we'll see what is its function, on which nutrient it is acting and converting into what. So if you take the amylase, already we know that it acts on the carbohydrates. So it acts on the carbohydrates and converts them into another substance which is called as maltose. So before formation of glucose, the product which is formed is the maltose. And then coming to the second enzyme which is called as trypsin, they will act on the proteins and also they will convert them into peptones. Okay, as similar to that of the pepsin, which is converting the proteins into peptones. Third one is lipase. So here this lipase is also an enzyme which is acting on the fats and converting the fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So this is how pancreas will act. Pancreas, or the juice which is secreted by pancreatic juice, is helping in the digestion. So now the next part which is very, very important is the liver. Here you can see the liver. Now this liver also plays a prominent role in the digestion process. So this liver, it secretes two salts. They will secrete a juice which is called as the bile juice. They will secrete a juice called as bile juice, and bile juice will have salts which are called as bilirubin and biliverdin. So bile juice is secreted by the liver, and now it doesn't have any enzymes. Enzymes are not present here. So now what are the present in them? In the bile juice, there are salts present in them. And these salts are the bilirubin and biliverdin. And now this bilirubin and biliverdin, both of them will act on the fats. They will act on the fats. And what they will act? They will act on the fats and convert them into very, very small globule-like structures. Okay, this process of conversion of the fats into small globule-like structures is called as the emulsification. So what is liver doing here? Liver is secreting a juice which is called as the bile juice. Bile juice doesn't have any enzymes. But they will have the salts. What are the two salts present in that? One is bilirubin, second one is biliverdin, and these two salts will, what they will do? They will emulsify the fats. They will convert the fats into very, very small globule-like structures, and this process we call it as the emulsification. What is called as the emulsification? So all this process will help in the digestion of the food. So children, so once the food enters into the small intestine, so we have already seen that there is a pyloric sphincter here which is allowing little quantities of food to go into the small intestine. So by the time it travels the small intestine, it is getting the enzymes from liver and also pancreases, and also there are some intestinal glands also there, which are also giving out some enzymes, which all these enzymes, intestinal glands will secrete an enzyme called as enterokinase. So all these enzymes and also the salts, okay, and the enzymes from the pancreases, and all these things will help in the digestion in the small intestines. So basically what happens is the food will be keeping on digesting here in the small intestines, and the small intestines will have finger-like projections which are called as villi. I'm drawing here some finger-like projections called as villi here. Okay, and all these villi or villi, when the food travels like this, what they will do is they will absorb the food materials which is completely digested. So whatever the food material which is completely digested, they are absorbed by the villi and then it is sent into the blood. That is how the digested food reaches the blood, because blood is the only transportation system in our body, so that it can transport the food substances to reach the each and every cell of our body, so that we can get the energy which we will be able to do the work. So villi which are present in the small intestine, they keep on absorbing the food which is digested, and all the undigested food will travel in this small coiled tube-like structures and then enter into the large intestine, and then they will enter into the large intestine, and then it travels in the large intestine and then it goes out of the rectum. This is called as defecation. It's called as defecation. So whatever the undigested food is there, that will be sent out of the body. Whatever the digested food is there in the body, it will be absorbed by the finger-like projections which are present in the small intestine, and then they will be sent into the blood, so that they can reach each and every cell of our body and they can give the energy to us. So this is the basically the process of digestion. Okay children, hope you have understood the digestion part and all, and then tomorrow we'll discuss about the another topic which is malnutrition.